Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, make sure you watch and listen to the end. We have huge crypto news and it's all important things that you need to know about. Okay, folks, first up, we got updates around the crypto market structure bill, the Clarity Act. So there's a lot of positive vibes in DC now with some sort of compromise on the table between the banks and the crypto industry. And we're seeing different folks are coming out saying this is happening, that the bill is going to be in the process of making its way through the markup and then eventually getting to pass. So CFTC Chair Mike Seelig, he tweeted out a photo of him with Congressman French Hill, who of course is the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. And he tweeted out with that photo, "Crypto clarity is coming. Thanks to French Hill for your leadership in the House on digital asset market structure." So it looks like they had a meeting today, and I've had Congressman French Hill on the podcast many times. I hope to have him on very soon. And I also hope to have Mike Seelig at some point. But great to see that dialogue and all these things are happening because it's so important to get this bill through. In addition, the White House crypto advisor Patrick Witt tweeted out plenty of uninformed FUD circulating on social media this week. It's all going to work out bullish. So let's see, folks. This would be very, very incredible if we were to get the Clarity Act passed by mid-year, let's see, or even later this year. But as we head later into the year, the odds become less and less in favor of passing because of the midterm elections, and things get really crazy around then. Today, Congress had a hearing on tokenization. And again, this is great that they're having these discussions so that we can have the legislation that we need and the clarity as well. Even the SEC, they're saying SEC Chair Paul Atkins said that he expects the tokenization innovation exemption for crypto firms could arrive within weeks. So one of the things we've been discussing over the past month or so is that even though the Clarity Act may be delayed, the point is the agencies, the SEC and CFTC, are collaborating and they're putting out the guidance. And at the end of the day, even with the Clarity Act passed, you would still need the agencies to do this. So they're kind of getting ahead of the curve here, which is really great. So providing guidance while the macro of the market structure bill is still being ironed out. So this is really, really great. And folks, on the topic of tokenization, we have more incredible tokenization news. Just yesterday, we reported a bunch of it, but today, Franklin Templeton, which has $1.7 trillion of assets under management, has partnered with Ondo to launch tokenized ETFs with 24/7 trading via crypto wallets. So incredible what's being built by these massive financial institutions. And folks, you may have caught my interview with the head of digital assets at Franklin Templeton. That interview was published this morning. It is with Roger Baston. Be sure to check it out, guys. We talk a lot about what's the strategy, what's the vision for Franklin Templeton when it comes to tokenization, the fact that they're building on multiple blockchains and much more. So make sure you check out that interview. It's a pretty good one. So Franklin Templeton, one of the Wall Street giants doing this, is pretty incredible. And they are, of course, not the only ones doing it. You got BlackRock, Fidelity, and others. And of course, Ondo Finance, their swim lane that they've picked is with tokenization. So that's why you're seeing a lot of building with Ondo. So let me give you some details. Franklin Templeton is teaming up with Ondo Finance to bring tokenized versions of its exchange-traded funds on-chain, allowing investors to access them through crypto wallets. The partnership opens up a new distribution channel beyond brokerage accounts as asset managers experiment with blockchain-based delivery and 24/7 market access. The tie-up was the first reported by Bloomberg and later confirmed by Ondo and X. The products will initially be available across Europe, Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Latin America, with US access dependent on regulatory clarity. So notice here with the United States, we need the SEC, as I just highlighted, to provide the guidance. So that's coming soon. And I think we're going to see the tokenization market and race heat up. So this is pretty incredible. And as always, game theory will play out. One domino falls. You got Franklin Templeton tokenizing ETFs. BlackRock's right around the corner. The others are coming, right? Not to mention the banks and much more. Here's what Eric Balchunas, ETF analyst at Bloomberg, had to say about this news. He says Franklin is partnering with Ondo to have all their ETFs be tokenized so people on chain can enjoy the awesomeness of cheap beta. Like I've been saying, tokenization isn't a threat to ETFs. On the contrary, it's a distribution mechanism. He's absolutely right. Okay, moving ahead, we have huge news around Ripple, XRP, and the RLUSD stablecoin. So Ripple joins Singapore's monetary authority Bloom initiative, partnering with Unlock, if I'm saying that right, UNLOQ, to pilot cross-border trade settlements using XRP Ledger and RLUSD stablecoin. So huge adoption here for Ripple and the XRP Ledger and their stablecoin. So the pilot will use Unlock's SC plus smart contract driven trade finance infrastructure, which integrates trade obligations, settlement conditions, and financing workflow into a single execution layer. The pilot will also utilize Ripple's XRP ledger and its stablecoin designed for enterprise use cases, RLUSD, the announcement states. So huge news if you're an XRP token holder. We continue to see the XRP ledgers getting a lot of adoption. People are building on it now that everything has been wrapped up from a regulatory clarity standpoint with the SEC. And since the case ended, we've seen on RWA.xyz the amount of building in the XRP ledger has been surging. So really great news here. Now, folks, a great place where you can invest in XRP as well as Bitcoin and other crypto assets is on iTrust Capital. So iTrust Capital offers you a unique way to invest. It's via an IRA. And you may ask, why would you want to do that? Well, it gives you tax advantages. Many of you know if you sell your crypto, especially for a gain, you incur capital gains taxes. Well, if you have a long-term view on these assets, you can do it through an IRA and get those tax benefits. Not only can you invest in crypto, but you can also invest in precious metals, gold and silver. And you can buy and sell gold and silver and crypto 24/7. It's low cost. There's no monthly fees. And if you have an existing 401k or IRA, you can roll it over to iTrust Capital's version. Now, with regards to the gold and silver, this is not paper gold and silver. So this is legit. So if you want to redeem the actual assets, you can do so. So this is very unique. Not many platforms offer this. So that's a great selling point there for them. And with regards to crypto, they have 90 plus assets on their platform. Now, they also offer a great custody solution called Premium Custody Account. Now, this is institutional tier one grade custody. They leverage Coinbase Prime, which BlackRock leverages. They use Fidelity, Fireblocks as well. And it's a closed loop system. So if someone hacks into your account, they can't withdraw, guys. And you can operate within it 24/7, as mentioned, and it's low fees. So great options, great alternative for investing, not only in crypto, but precious metals. And again, if you have that long-term view on these assets, this is an amazing option because of the tax benefits. So if you use my link, guys, you can get $100 funding bonus. So check them out. I have an account with them. Go learn about the option here. It may be something that's very beneficial to you. So again, you can get $100 funding bonus by signing up with my link. So check out the link in the description. Okay, moving ahead, Morgan Stanley's Bitcoin ETF gets official listing announcement from the New York Stock Exchange. Launch imminent per Bloomberg's Eric Balchunas. This is big. Morgan Stanley was certainly late to the crypto game. Them and Vanguard, right? Vanguard was more so a detractor, a naysayer, and then they had to bend the knee and capitulate. But it's inevitable. All these firms have to have a crypto strategy, a digital asset strategy, whether it be offering crypto financial products, custody, leveraging stablecoins, tokenizing, using blockchain in different ways. They have to, right? They would be foolish, or they're going to have their Blockbuster moment, right? Blockbuster failed to adapt to the internet. And we know what Netflix did to them, right? Put them out of business. So this is where these firms all have to get on board. And the fact that Morgan Stanley is launching a Bitcoin ETF is incredible because they've got a lot of customers. They've got a lot of capital that's going to come into this ETF. And as always, it starts at Bitcoin. Then they're going to launch their Ethereum, their XRP, Solana ETFs. We've seen it time and time again. So this is pretty incredible. Moving ahead, Visa will join the Canton network as a super validator, aiming to bring privacy-preserving blockchain payments and stablecoin infrastructure to banks and financial institutions. I've been saying since last year, watch the Canton network. I invested in a token that has worked out well for me. And I did an interview with the folks who are building the Canton network at the company called Digital Asset. And they continue to get a lot of adoption. We know the DTCC is building on Canton network and many others. Pretty incredible project. So definitely something you should check out, folks. Okay, moving ahead, the tokenization news continues. Bitpanda targets banks with Vision Chain tokenization platform. So the Vienna-based crypto broker announced its Ethereum Layer 2 aimed at helping European banks and fintechs issue tokenized assets under the MiCA and the MiFID II regulations. So that's a weird acronym there. But the point is, though, guys, we are seeing across the globe the building. And you may say, well, how does this benefit me? How can I get access to this? Or, how can I invest in things like this? Well, first, they're building on Ethereum. So that's where you want to look at which chains are being built on and hold those respective tokens. In addition, once they launched the actual assets, if it's available to retail or you're an accredited investor, you may be able to access it. You can see how you can put it to work or, participate where you can earn yield and things like that. So Bitpanda said Wednesday, it's building Vision Chain, an Ethereum Layer 2 that the Vienna-based broker said is aimed at helping European banks and fintechs issue and manage tokenized assets using infrastructure designed for compatibility with the crypto regulations in the EU. Bitpanda is pitching Vision Chain as a Layer 2 for tokenized assets, combining Optimism's OP stack with institutional custody and compliance tooling so that regulated companies in Europe can tokenize and trade traditional assets such as stocks, bonds, and funds on an Ethereum-based rollup. Now, they also mentioned Optimism. That is an Ethereum Layer 2, so you may want to look at the token there, right? So I'm not telling you to go invest. I'm just saying how you want to look at it and doing your research, right? You want to look for examples like these where big institutions, big players are building on the respective blockchains. And that's where you can leverage sites like rwa.xyz, where you can go see which chains are getting the most tokenized assets on them, volume, total value, all these things, and take your bets. Obviously, you can't invest in everything. It's not possible, and you don't want to spread yourself too thin, but you want to go look at what the opportunities are and take your bets, right? So especially if you're new to the market, this is, definitely for the folks who are relatively new. Those of you who've been here and this is not your first go around, you know the deal, but I think it's important to educate folks about these things. Okay, moving ahead, Marshall Islands basic income effort gains crypto-connected backers. Now, we've talked a lot about CBDCs as well as stablecoins, tokenized deposits, and even countries launching their own stablecoins or CBDCs and using that to give what's called universal basic income, UBI. I do believe, and this is a whole other conversation, that as AI and different technologies come into the market, people are not going to have jobs, right? A lot of jobs are going to be removed, and governments, I think, will be forced to use some sort of UBI. And I think the only way to make sure that there's not fraud there and they can track everything is with CBDCs or stablecoins, right? And again, there's a whole other conversation because our rights, our privacy, and all these things could be trampled on. But the point is, the technology allows these governments to be able to easily give people the money they need, given that there's going to be problems in the economy. Well, I shouldn't say problems, but it's just going to be a shakeup of how the structure of the economy is. And AI taking a lot of jobs and things like that. So the technology provider building the infrastructure for the Republic of the Marshall Islands Universal Basic Income Program, which will use a US dollar pegged sovereign financial instrument, has attracted some significant crypto-tied backers. In a Tuesday notice shared exclusively with Cointelegraph, M1X Global announced that it had launched following a $3 million angel investment round by current and former executives connected to crypto and financial services companies. Backers of the M1X Global Angel Round included former Coinbase Chief Technology Officer Balaji Srinivasan and Cumberland Labs CEO Tama Churchhouse, if I'm saying that right. According to the company, the funding will support the development and adoption of the USD M1 digital sovereign bond, which allows citizens of the Republic of the Marshall Islands to access the UBI program. Folks, this right here is a microcosm of what's coming globally. And I'm not saying it's going to happen next year. It's going to take years to roll it out. But make no mistake about it. If you see where things are headed with technology, AI, humanoid robots, again, that's going to impact the economy where there's not going to be enough jobs for folks. And there's going to be a segment of the population that's going to that really need this. Obviously, again, going back to the privacy and rights, we have to make sure that it respects the rights, but that's a whole other conversation. So while the Marshall Islands debuted the USD M1 on the Stellar blockchain in December, M1X Global said it intended to expand the digital instruments use cases into institutional markets. According to M1X co-founder and COO Jordan Goldman, the expanded access to the instrument will allow it to serve as high-quality collateral. So notice the Stellar blockchain is being leveraged. So again, going back to what do you look for as far as investing in projects? Here's an example, right? You want to look for governments that are using blockchains, which ones? Public chains that you can get access to the tokens. So the native token of the Stellar blockchain is XLM. I do hold that in my portfolio. Again, I'm not telling you to go invest in it. I'm just saying what to look for and how to approach it. So very, very interesting. And speaking of governments, the ECB, the European Central Bank, targets summer for digital euro standards. So the ECB's Piero Cipollone, if I'm saying it right, said the central bank wants key technical standards for a possible digital euro locked in by summer so banks and merchants can prepare for the rollout. See what's coming, folks? So we can sit down and cry about it, or we can take advantage of it, right? And try to make money and give ourselves some financial freedom and prepare for, the universal basic income world. As much as I may not like it, it's inevitable, I think. And we've seen how companies, when they can find an easier route to have more productivity and less cost, they're going to do it. So they're going to use the AI agents, the humanoid robots versus humans. And we're going to have to see, the models, the UBI models that come out in the future, and, how that's going to work. If there's some sort of profit sharing type of UBI versus just free money, but maybe you do something, right? I don't know. Anyway, again, whole other conversation, but it's interesting what's happening. And we've talked about the token economy, and it's not just assets. It's going to be your fiat currencies that are going to be on chain. So get on board, guys, and understand what's happening here. Educate yourself, stay up to date with everything, make your investments accordingly, and just be prepared. Folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Folks, be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. Grab a copy there. It's available in paperback and digital. And if you want to expand your knowledge about crypto, check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto and blockchain technology. It is packed with tons of value. It includes expert commentary. No other crypto course offers this. So those people I've interviewed, right, the hundreds and hundreds of people I've interviewed, I asked them specific questions, and these videos have not been published. They're only available in the course. So you can hear directly from the people building and investing. And right now we got a big sale going on. It's a bear market sale. So use the code BEAR, BEAR, at checkout to get 50% off the course price. So big discount, guys. And I did that because I realized, look, we're all in the bear market. And economically, things are not great. It doesn't mean that we have to stop learning and educating ourselves, obviously, but I definitely wanted to give a big discount because I know markets are not great right now. Now, it won't stay like that forever. Markets are cyclical. I think towards later this year, we're going to see a rebound, not necessarily new all-time highs. I think 2027, we see new all-time highs. But Trump's not going to want to go into the midterm elections with the market down, the economy down, right? I think they're going to pump markets, but get prepared, right? Knowledge is power, guys. So check out the course at mycryptocourse.com. Use the code BEAR, BEAR, to get 50% off. And the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.